Ladies and gentlemen, this is Robertson, also known as Baraban, and today I'm bringing you another Minecraft video. Only this time, instead of playing Feed the Beast, I am now playing a mod pack for TerraFirmaCraft called TerraFirmaPunk, which is slightly more harder than standard TerraFirmaCraft, and after my miraculous escape from the deep dark, I thought it was time I had a slightly harder challenge. Now, unlike standard Minecraft, you can't just punch trees and get resources that way, you've got to do things in a semi-realistic way. So I'm gathering up the sticks and the stones we've got from the ground here, because what I want to do is gather enough sticks and hopefully see if I can get 2 stones, because what I need to do to craft my first tool is actually use something called napping, which is basically hitting 2 stones together to create the shape of the tool that I want to use. The first thing I'm going to be aiming for is probably an axe, then a shovel. Because once I've got the axe, then I can start chopping down trees. Now, those of you who are familiar with TerraFirmaCraft realise that the survival aspect is very much enhanced. I have both hunger and thirst to worry about. Not only that, but food decays, so I've got to be careful to make sure that I harvest and store it at the correct times, otherwise I run the real risk of having a problem with fighting starvation, particularly during the winter season. But the big difference between this and the standard TerraFirmaCraft is that TerraFirmaPunk adds several mods to this game which essentially carries on from the Iron and Steel Age and makes you advance into the Industrial Age. So you've got to deal with pipes, boilers, furnaces, that sort of thing. It's essentially a tech mod for TerraFirmaCraft, if you will. It also adds a whole load of dangerous mobs from Twilight Forest and Lycanites mobs, which are a lot more tougher than the standard vanilla ones. I've just spotted some malachite and clay here, which I could certainly do with, but I don't actually have a shovel or a pickaxe to do anything with them yet, so I'll just make a mental note that I can come back here if I need any of that in the future. What I need to do first is find another stone so I can start the napping process and make myself some basic tools. We've also got Smart Move installed with this pack, which means that I can scale anything that's 2 blocks high or less, and it means I can crawl, and it gives me some cool new swimming animations, which is something that hopefully I'll show you guys later on. Okay, I've got 2 stones now, so I can start the napping process to make an axe. As you can see here, I'm trying to see if I can knock the chunks out of the first stone in the pattern of an axe head. And now that I've done that, I can add it to the stick and, yeah, lo and behold, an axe. I'll do the same here and make myself a shovel. There we are, I now have the 2 most important tools I need to get myself started. Right, it looks like I'm on the coast, and after surveying the scenery, I think I want to go back down there and head up towards which I think is the north, just to see what there is up there. Ideally, I want to see if I can head inland as much as possible, and see if I can find some ruins or at least some more resources. At the moment, I'm looking for fresh water and food. I'm at the coast at the moment, which means seawater, and unfortunately, I cannot drink seawater, which pretty much makes sense. Ah, there's sphalerite on the surface here, which means that there's going to be more under the ground. Sphalerite, if my memory serves me right, is important because it contains zinc, which is vital for making brass. And since this is a brass heavy pack for the steam power stuff, it means that this is going to be very useful later on in the series. I'll just have to remember to come back here later on once I need it. And whilst I'm here, I might as well cut down this tree. I'll need the logs for providing fuel for a campfire, as well as for crafting materials later on. It also comes in handy for making a makeshift shelter too. It looks as though it's around midday, so I've still got plenty of time to go exploring. I misjudged that jump. That's another cool feature of this pack. Streams with actual running water. Hey, I can see some ruins coming through the haze up ahead. Looks like an old high-rise building or something. I wonder if there's anything else nearby. In fact, this gives me a great opportunity to show you guys the new Smart Move swimming animation. Check this out. Although it does look a bit strange because I've got an axe in my hand, but you get the idea. Well, there's certainly plenty of clay around here, so there's no shortage of that. But it's food I'm looking for. I don't want to die of starvation in the very first episode of my Let's Play. That would be embarrassing. Watch Robertson as he fails the Bear Grylls Wilderness Challenge. Aha, what's that I spy in the distance? That looks as if it could be tomatoes. Yes! Food at last. Just as well, because I'd hate to think I'd reached a stage where I'm ending up eating dung or drinking my own piss. But, you know, in a survival situation, you've got to do whatever it takes to survive. What I'll do now is I'll gather every single one of these because I can eat the vegetable, well, fruit, tomato, same thing, and store the seeds for later on because once I've got a stone hoe, I can start ploughing the ground and planting them for myself. There'll be some good loot in those ruins there, but it's getting too late and there's going to be powerful monster spawners in there, and I am nowhere near the stage where I can fight them yet, so I think I'll keep heading back round in a sort of semicircle towards where I came from and see what else I can find. Ideally, I'll be looking for shelter soon because it won't be that long before nightfall. I'll just drink the stagnant still water here, I'm sure it'll be perfectly safe. It would be cool if they added that you actually had to boil the water first before you drank it, otherwise you get sick from parasites or bacteria. That would be pretty smart. That's a very dangerous looking ravine. Let's find a safe way around it. And I can see what looks like some structures over there. I wonder if any of them will have any decent loot in them. I guess we'll have to see. Not only does this mod pack have ruins that spawn throughout the landscape, but we have also added, in addition to TerraFirmaPunk, the custom NPC mod and tweaked it so that it actually works with TerraFirmaCraft. As well as a hardcore quest mode with a questing book with goals in it, we've added the NPCs just to make things a bit more interesting. At the end of each episode, I send my world file to my colleague John and he tweaks the NPCs to add an ongoing story arc in the background, not just to keep things fresh, but to also keep me on my toes. Jute seeds, those will be useful. Rope for capturing animals. And unshaped black steel. Now that will come in handy later on. I can't use it right now, but later on once I've got a proper anvil to work it, I certainly will be able to use it to make weapons and maybe even armour once I've got more. Now these holes in the ceiling are bothering me. I'm going to go out here, I'm going to start chopping down some of these trees so I can patch these up as best I can, because I plan to use this as a shelter for tonight and I'm aware that it's starting to get dark. Now, unlike vanilla Minecraft, and indeed TerraFirmaCraft, the TerraFirmaPunk mod adds zombies that can actually jump pretty high, as well as little spiders that can sneak in through 1 block wide holes like that, and I need to patch them up as quickly as I can. Otherwise, my chances of surviving this night really will be quite slim indeed. I'm seeing bunnies and squirrels running around the landscape all the time. Unfortunately, they're just for ambient effects because you can't actually get anything from them when you kill them. Unlike real life, you can get some meat and a little bit of hide from them. But hey, you know, otherwise it would probably just be too easy. Okay, I'm hoping that'll be enough. I'll just get a quick drink of water before I go in before the sun sets, just to make sure I stay hydrated throughout the rest of the night. Because of all the tomatoes I collected earlier, I should have enough food with me to last until morning. And if I'm lucky, maybe for another day or two. I'll very quickly dig out a trench in front of this doorway. That way if any zombies do appear during the middle of the night, they should get stuck in here instead of staying round the front door. Right, let's block up those damn holes in the ceiling. Cool. Now it's time to get a campfire started. For that, I need to craft a fire starter using 2 sticks in the crafting grid there. Then I throw 3 sticks in the ground and use the fire starter on them. Right, I think I'll build it about here. So I'll just toss the 3 sticks on the ground and hopefully... Perfect. There we go. Ah, now that's going to be a problem. This type of log doesn't burn in the campfire. That's okay. I'll try and see if I can light some torches using what little flames I do have left in the fire before it goes out. And there it goes. Oh well, 4 torches will do. That'll help me light this place up. There we go. I should be safe in here until the morning, but what I will do, because I don't have a bed, is pause the video and start recording again once it's morning and the zombies start dying, and we can continue on our grand adventure. I know it's the middle of the night, but I thought I'd start recording again just to show you the zombies that I've massed out in front of my railway switchbox house here, as well as to show you guys me doing some more of the napping recipes with the stones. The first one I do will be for the stone knives, so I just do a line down the middle here and a bit out of each top, and that gives us 2 knife blades. I don't have enough sticks to do them both, so I'll just do one in the meantime. And put it on the toolbar there after I move some of the other ones around. And the next thing I want to make is a stone hoe. And last, but by no means least, a stone hammerhead. Excellent. I'll just get a log from the ceiling, one of the pine ones, to restart the fire and make a torch out of that extra stick I've got, and I will see you guys in the morning. Well, it's morning outside, and it looks as though, and sounds as though, most of the zombies have finally died. Unfortunately, I made the great beginner's mistake of trying to light the fire whilst I was standing too close to it, and as a result I set myself on fire too. And the bad thing about wearing so much aftershave is that I've never been on fire for so long in all my years playing Minecraft. Seriously, I lost over half my health. And what was worse is that I couldn't reach the water outside because of all the zombies hanging around. But hey, it went out before I died, so yeah, in the future I'll be giving the fires a wide berth. I'm loving all these cool railcraft things dotted around this place. I'm not exactly sure how useful they are right now, but they certainly make the place look a lot more interesting. Ah, jute. That's for making burlap. I'll have to remember to gather this later on, once I've got a bit more space. Right now, I want to check out what those structures are over there. That's netherrack and netherbrick. Whoa, this looks like a hellmouth. What is this supposed to be, Sunnydale? I wonder how many people actually get that reference. Right, I'm going to try and scout around to the right hand side of that creepy place with the jack-o'-lanterns, just to see what I can see. Or not, as there's a great big sodding ravine in the way. Oh well, I guess I'll just go around to the left of it instead then. Ah, looks deserted. Oh no, it's not. There's someone there. I don't think he's seen me though. Ah, now those could be some of those custom NPCs that I mentioned earlier. Now the big question is, are they friendly or are they hostile? I'll have to get a little bit closer just to find out. Primitive Hunter. Interesting title, but it doesn't really tell me anything. And a Primitive Huntress. Well, they don't appear to be hostile, otherwise they would have probably tried to attack me already. I'll move in for a closer look and see what else is in here. Hail and well met. Ha ha ha, they speak Old English. How very quaint. Hail to thee! This is almost like playing Ultima all over again. I'm liking these sunken Stone Age houses. I'm getting a very Scarra Brave vibe from this place. Primitive warrior. He looks like a Klingon. Village elder. He sounds important. Ah, I can actually speak to him. Nice. Right, time for me to put my bad voice acting to the test here and give Santa Claus here a sort of village elder wise man kind of voice whilst I read his lines. What is this place?
This is a humble village. It's not much, but it's home for now. We won't be staying here for long though, as we need to keep moving in order to survive.
So you are a nomadic people?
Aye, but not by choice. Ever since the great cataclysm, the lands have become extremely dangerous, with hideous beasts and zombies roaming around preying on us. By staying on the move, we're able to avoid many of those dangers and still follow the herds of wild animals that we hunt for food and clothing.
What about metalworking and growing crops?
I know not of what you mean. The ability to take material from the ground and make it into something usable is an art that has been lost to us for generations. As for growing crops, none of us are farmers. My grandfather's people did try to grow some vegetables once many years ago, but the yields became less and less. Eventually the crops all died and we had to resort to hunting and fishing again. If we could somehow learn these lost arts again, we might consider settling somewhere, but for now, it's just not feasible.
Yeah, it sounds like these guys just couldn't master crop rotation. What was this great cataclysm you mentioned?
You mean you've never heard? The great cataclysm happened many years ago, even before my great-grandfather's time. I don't know exactly what happened, only that a great many people died, and the world was changed forever. Many of those that didn't die outright either turned into zombies or mutated into hideous beings. What few of us that remained gradually fell prey to the strange beasts that began to appear throughout the land. There's not many of us left now, and unless things change, I fear that we will all be doomed.
Well, that sounds grim. You mentioned zombies? Oh yeah, we've already seen them.
Don't interrupt me, fool of a took.
Sorry, I just seem to have turned this guy into Gandalf, haven't I?
Now where was I? Yes, that's right. Shortly after the great cataclysm, many of those that didn't die began to suffer from a strange affliction. First, they slowly started to lose their minds. Then their skin turned green and they began to attack and eat anyone else who wasn't similarly afflicted. We do not think of them as human anymore, and most of us now just call them zombies. We're safe enough during the day, as the sunlight seems to burn their skin, but they come out in large hordes at night, forcing us to take shelter after sunset and dig trenches around our villages to try and keep them at bay.
Ah, time for the obvious question now. Who are you?
I am the village elder. I advise the chieftain in all matters and assist him in leading our people.
Where is your chieftain? Good question.
He and our 5 strongest warriors ventured forth to slay a family of mountain trolls that had begun to terrorize our village more frequently as of late. It's been some days since they've left now, and we're beginning to fear the worst. I would ask someone to go and look for them, but we can't spare anyone, and I wouldn't ask you to look as the mountains are far too dangerous for anyone to travel alone.
Mountain trolls?
Yes, I'm surprised you've not seen any yet, as they're getting more common around here these days. They're big, fur-covered brutes that tend to be lightly coloured and stand twice as tall as any man. Normally they stick around the mountainous areas, but they have been coming down to the plains more often in the search for food. If you come face to face with one, then I would suggest that you flee, as trying to fight one in single combat would be madness.
Yeah, what is the deal with all those pumpkins?
You mean the jack-o'-lanterns? We use those to light up the place and ward off the zombies, monsters, and wild creatures that roam these lands. They don't really work very well at that, but at least the pumpkins keep the torches inside dry when it rains. Our ancestors used to eat pumpkins many years ago, but over the years they've somehow turned bitter and are now inedible.
Haha, of course they are, and I'm guessing that's the lower explanation as to why we can't eat them in TerraFirmaCraft. And this looks like the last dialogue option. Is there anything I can do to help? I bet this triggers a quest.
Until you earn the trust of my people, it's probably best if you just help us gather food and supplies. Zombies and other beasts frequently attack our village during the night and sometimes make it over the pit we've dug. If you can lend any assistance when we're fighting them off, then that would be a great help. Other than that, you're more than welcome to stay here. It's much safer than living out there alone. Once our chieftain comes back, we'll decide how best you can help us.
Yeah, that's if your chieftain comes back. Well, that appears to be all the dialogue options, so farewell, Gandalf. Once again, guys, give me feedback on that. Would you like it if I carried on giving these guys their individual voices, or read out the lines normally, or just let you guys read them yourselves? Anyway, this looks like a good place to wrap up this episode. When we come back, I'll make a start on some pottery and hopefully even craft some copper tools. But once again, if you enjoyed this episode, remember to like and subscribe. That always helps. And, as always, this is Robertson, signing out.